Good evening. I'm Councilwoman Linda Barnes Caldwell, and I would like to welcome you to the Finance Committee meeting. In her absence, Mary Brown is the Finance Committee Chair. We have a Councilman at Large, Kenneth Wissington, and Councilman of the Second District, Dwayne Halliburton. We have one item on the agenda this evening. It's CPO 2025-01, an ordinance amending City of Gary Ordinance Number 9749 and approving additional salaries and operating budgets for the City of Gary's grants and special revenues funds for the calendar year 2025, sponsored by Mayor Eddie Milton, City of Gary, Salida Green, City Controller. We'll have an overview at the time. Can you turn your mic on?
Sorry. Good evening, Council. I have before you CPO 2025-01, the Gary Grants and Special Revenue Funds for calendar year 2025. I'm going to allow the department heads to come up and read and go over give the overview of their budgets. Okay. Hanifa, you want to do yours first?
Good evening, councilwomen, councilmen. I'm Hanifa Khalik, Executive Director of the Gary Human Relations Commission and also Vice President of the Indiana Consortium of State and Local Human Rights Agencies. And it is a pleasure to be before you tonight. I have 4 funds that I'd like to discuss with you. And the first one is our donation fund is 712, and it has $838 in it. That's just carryover. We just simply haven't spent that from the time when we celebrated, I believe it was our 50th anniversary. We celebrated our 60th anniversary last year, and it was quite a success. So since then, we just haven't had a chance to finish out this fund, so that just carries over. Oh, yes.
Councilwoman, turn your mic on, please.
In my packet, I only have the Warming Center and Code Enforcement. You got that? Oh, okay, community development, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, may I speak?
Yes, please.
Oh, I thought I was just coming before you to make sure my my funds and my budget was approved. But it's not a new donation. It's from 10 years ago. It's always been there. We just haven't used it.
You said 10 years?
Yeah.
And how much is it?
Well, it started out at 5,000, but it went down because we used it to pay for computers and various things over the years. And so what is remaining there is just the $838.
Okay. Do you plan on getting anything else?
Well, we would like to purchase a laptop for our secretary, but we also have funds in our office supplies, so we'll probably maybe just use that out of that. I have to go before our commissioners if I want to spend this money on anything. Well, on anything, but I don't have any plans. I don't have any plans for the 838 as of yet.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay, shall I go on to the other? Okay. The EEOC, which is 2437, and that is the fund that our general investigator is paid out of. And I just have that salary as $39,335. That has not, shall I? Yeah, I think so. That has not increased or decreased from last year, it remains the same. So I don't know if you had any questions about that. Operating budget, we usually receive 3,500 in travel and education from the EEOC. So that was calculated into the $54,773. And last year we got 1,500, so it just, that kind of comes down, from them, what the policy change is as far as that's concerned. So then I just reflect that in my budget. Did you all have any questions regarding that? No? Okay. All right. Moving then on to Fund 2438, Fair Housing. This is where the supervisor investigator is paid from, and her salary has not increased or decreased either. We were able to keep her salary the same at $39,685. The operating budget there, we received, oh, I'm sorry. Sure. Oh, okay. No worries. Okay.
You can continue.
I left off at Fund 2467, and, oh, I'm sorry, 2438, just sharing the salary of the supervising investigator for our
24.
fair housing.
You said 2430.
2438, the fair housing program.
You're a general investigator?
Well, the general investigator, we pay out of 204, which is, I'm sorry, 2437, which is the EEOC. And then we also have a supervisor investigator, and she is paid out of the Fair Housing Fund.
Supervisor investigator, okay.
And her salary is $39,685. It is also neither going up or down, just kind of staying consistent. We received $127,400 last year for case processing. And, of course, that was more than enough to cover the salary of that individual. I try to just, keep things consistent until I'm absolutely sure we can provide for any raises. Now, I did put $1,000 in to have a consortium this year in the month of August, so look for that information. Moving on then to the last one that I have in front of me, which is the Fair Housing and Partnership. Now, that is Fund 2467. And that fund is special for the training and education that comes from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Fair Housing specifically. So we have this year proposed $38,523 in that, which hopefully we can use to continue to receive the education and training that we need to stay on top of things. Now, last year we received $8,400, but this year we received $9,000. So when you add that all up, it does equal that $38,523. Now, I'm delighted to also share, before I take questions, if you don't mind, before I forget, we hope to also host our mayor's Organization on Disabilities Luncheon again this year. And so we will be working on that as well. I would like to combine forces with other civil rights organizations for events for Black History Month. So we're going to be having conversations about that as well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Veronica Collins Ellis. I'm the Executive Director of the Gary Health Department. The budget that I'm going over today is the opiate settlement unrestricted budget. This is a revised budget that we done back in November for the special revenue. The only changes that we're making, we would like to hire a full-time project manager that will oversee the mental health community crisis initiative and the opiate program, geared to improve mental health services in the community. They will oversee the development of programs for the sub-recipients to ensure the objectives are met. So that's the only change, and that's the $70,000 for this person. This person is has to be a licensed social worker, have some experience in the behavior health programs. Are there any questions?
This is the same amount that you came a couple years ago with.
But this time, this person will be over both the opiate and the mental health initiative. A couple years ago, we only was focused on the mental health, and we're providing grants to different organizations and this person will be over the program.
Anything?
Yes, the position is posted.
And when do you expect to start this?
Say that for me one more time, I'm
When do
sorry.
you expect to start this position?
As soon as possible.
All right. Any questions?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
This is the only one you're going to talk about, speak on?
The Warming and Cooling Center as well. My apologies, I forgot about that one. So we're asking to keep that. Can I look at that?
How is that possible?
It's a transitioning shelter, so they get a chance to stay for 3 days. We still will have warming and cooling needs, but they get a chance to stay for 3 days until we find them some long-term sheltering.
Shelter. Explain shelter. Is this women's, men's, families,
Women and children.
women and children? Abused women and children, or just women and children in general?
We will assist the on domestic violence women as well, because we can make sure they get long-term sheltering.
So if I'm running from someone and I come to this warming and cooling center, and that person I'm running from comes for 2 or 3 days, or just pops in because they're cold outside,
No, so that's not going to happen for the domestic violence.
explain it to me.
So what happens, and we're still working on the process, however, we make sure that they are in another patient. They will not stay there. Domestic violence participants won't stay there. We have vouchers that we make sure they get into hotels and other facilities. But we will be a resource to connect them to where they need to go.
I think we need to,
I'm sorry.
I think we need to talk about this a little bit more, get some more thought behind it. I hear what you're saying, but they just may end up at the same place at the same time, so yeah.
Ms. Collins, do we have another organization that overlaps this particular position if we go forward? Ms. George, what is her position?
Are you saying the Rainbow Shelter?
Yes.
So
What's
it's
what's
no
the difference? What would be the difference?
That won't be focused on domestic violence. We will be focusing on sheltering, but we'll be able to assist them throughout the process to get them somewhere safe. They will not even come to the warming and cooling center. We'll do the intake over the phone and make sure that we get a hotel for them or a long-term, another facility.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Mike from IT will give the overview for Fund 2528, Department 604.
Good evening, Council. How you guys doing today? I'm all right. Well, today I'm going to go over the non-reverting fund for the IT department. So this is basically the funds that we receive from the Gary International Airport. We provide IT services for them. So we broke it down to this budget line item. So we're keeping it the same. So, but we're adding 28, we increased contractual maintenance agreement by 28,000. That is because we have Uncommon X, our cybersecurity services, and we're just having that pay that portion, and with all the other entities that's using that same services. So that's the only increase we had. So that's going from 15,000 to 48,000. Thank you. You have a good night.
Okay, for Department 5583, Fund 2226, we'll have Latria or Anthony to give the overview.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Evening, I'm sorry.
So for the 226 Community Development Fund and Department 5583, we had to increase the director's salary because the city could not increase it. So we had to increase it through community development so that he can get what he's supposed to be paid. How much you think? So originally what we were paying was the 9,800, and now we're paying 25 to make his 65.
Okay. Okay. You don't have any other changes?
No, he don't have anything else.
It looks like, so with that salary increase, I'm going down the rest of them, insurance, per FICA, all that, everything else increases as well with the new officers that we do have. Is that correct? Okay, so about $73,000 total.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you all.
Okay.
That's it.
You're done.
Thank you all.
Okay, and Ms. Adrian will do the overview for ESG and community development.
For ESG and for the home program, we had line item changes that needed to be done. There were items in both programs that needed to be changed to the personnel section. They were in supplies and other areas that needed to be moved to the personnel section. The position already existed, we just needed the appropriation increase for both programs.
And what department is this again?
The department, it's all part of community development, but the two programs is the home program and the ESG program.
Okay, and what does the ESG program do?
That's the emergency shelter program. And
We're still moving funds. Okay. So that's a part-time position, and
actually, it's one full-time position that's being paid from home and from ESG. So part of this, the person works on both programs. Part of her salary comes from the home program, and the other part comes from the ESG program.
So just to clarify, it's $43,000 come from home administration and 13 coming from ESG.
Exactly.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. That's your last person.
I believe that's all the budgets that we had.
That's all?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you. We'll see you all February the 11th. That ends the finance meeting for January the 30th, 29th, 30th, one of these dates, the 28th. Thank you.